Yeah, you talk about those huge shoes to fill. One of those guys that have really paved the way for the younger generation. Gavin Beschen, I mean, he got the call-up. Bruce Irons advanced straight into the main event due to that injury that Maddie Banting sustained. But Gavin just looked so calm throughout. I mean, he's always a calm cat. But in this event, he was really picking out those little cherries.
You know, it's amazing to watch Gavin surf out here. He just makes it look so seamless, effortless. It looks like he's in slow-mo, as I've heard from some of the other fellas say, but he just does. He's just got such a nice, clean, easy style, and he's in a great rhythm, which is what you have to do out here, right, Potts? You can't fight it. You have to let the flow happen, and that's exactly what he's been doing out there.
Well, that's that whole slow motion effect where he's not rushing, you know. He's just letting the wave be the hero. And by the way, one of the only guys that was getting scores on the lefts. You know, there's only been a few. Nathan Florence got a 7.5 with the left, but unfortunately couldn't back it up. But this kid's just picking the right ones. You know, there's very few perfect pipe waves, and it just seems like everyone that came through, he was on it.
And then he actually took to that right and just got blown out of that one perfect barrel. It's just so beautiful. Look at him just flying through it, gets blown out, comes around the corner. I mean, this is the kind of platform, it's just perfect for him to just get the call up, to not let that kind of get to you and the nerves and everything, and then just get out there and do damage. It's pretty impressive to watch a guy like Gavin do that.
Well, it's that magnetism that we talk about. There's some people that can sit out in a lineup and they just attract those bombs, and it almost like the way that he can stay calm, his read on the lineup, that experience, he was just a sponge out there and just like attracting these bombs towards himself.
You know, the thing that really impressed me too was, not just the wave selection, just he took his time. He wasn't hassling around the lineup. You know, he waited for his turn and basically went. And you know, in those post-heat interviews, super humble as well, just for the ability, the opportunity to surf out here in front of his peers, and given that last-minute call-up, and here he is in the final. So amazing stuff.
I love it. He's living that moment. You know, he never goes away from just where he's at in the moment, and that's why we're here right now.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about the younger generation. Another guy that's been blowing doors down here is Victor Bernardo. He's been spending a lot of time out here in this pipe lineup. I saw him on a soft top the other day. He just immerses himself in that whole experience, and getting that wild card call up from Billabong to be in this event, that's huge.
Well, I was talking to Ross. He's like, he would have never thought that Victor Bernardo and Gavin Beschen would have been into the finals here at the Invitational. And, it's just a random thing. You just didn't even think Gavin was going to be in it. Victor Bernardo, you're just not even sure who the guy is yet. Here he is in the final at the Pipe Invitational. It's really great to see guys step up to the plate and show that they've got what it takes.
Well, credit to Billabong. They gave this kid an opportunity, and he hasn't let him down. I mean, it's like you said, Strider, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Obviously, we were expecting maybe some more traditional names moving through into the final here, but it's a changing of the guard. I mean, we've seen it all the way around the world, both in the men's and the women's, and now we're seeing it here at Pipeline as well. There's a next generation that are stepping up.
And something else that we see there, Potts, Reynolds Hayes, Tony Moniz, the dog, Richard Dog Marsh, down there in the corner for these guys. I was on the beach watching them. They've been down there all day, giving them the information they need, putting them in the headspace, keeping it familiar. Tammy's down there, Axel Irons, Shane Dorian's son Jackson, just really having the good vibes, keep on flowing. Finn McGill's in that camp. I love it. I love what Billabong's got going down here on the beach. I love that they, extended the invite out there to this man, and he stepped up.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I mean, also having that variation, he's got the barrel riding skills down. He looks so comfortable, and then also able to execute massive maneuvers. He was going to the air. He had a couple attempts that were just so huge. So it has that variation. You see him there setting up for the final. He looks so focused. You mentioned Reynolds Hayes in his corner. So there's really got that formula down. He looks really good and focused and looking for that opportunity into the main event.
Yeah, I mean, the spring in this guy's step is crazy. What I saw from him, like at Cash at the 10,000 there, it was out of control. The guy had no speed and was boosting, 4-foot rotations out of nowhere. Plus, he's got game out here on these, waves with a little more consequence. It's good. It's good to see.
Well, that's the thing too. It's waves of consequence, and the guys are flying through the air. That alley-oop that he almost made back in the semi-finals. I mean, they're not just happy with riding the wave traditionally, which is just take off and get tube ride. They're into doing big crazy flips and spins, and it's just a new era of surfing. I mean, these kids aren't scared, and as I said before, it's just an insight of what we've got coming in the next few years.
Yeah, but these guys wouldn't be here if you didn't pave the way, Pops.
Thanks, Strider.
Yeah, this is nice. Anyway, one of the heats that I really enjoyed watching was the second semi-final. I mean, just seeing the way that things were shaken up, a couple of huge scores dropped. One of those scores was from Josh Moniz. I mean, both Seth and Josh in this event, and it's so good to see. You know, these guys, they spend a lot of time on the North Shore, spending the time in the lineup. Like we mentioned, that's starting to pay dividends for them.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's really interesting. Something you don't get to see is these guys on a free surf out here. They really do. The Moniz family, even though they're younger and they're a new generation coming in, they demand a lot of respect in the lineup. And that's something that you've got to have. You've got to paddle with poise. You've got to, you know, command that respect. You've got to take your waves. And these guys do a great job of, you know, filling up the lineup, getting their lion's share of what they should get, and from that bloodline, rightfully so.
Well, that's what I was about to say. You know, they've been brought up right. You know, from Tony and Tammy, obviously Kaipo. You know, they've brought their kids up right. You know, they show respect to the older crew out there. They sort of sit and wait their turn, and that's what happens when you do that. You start earning that respect by being that, you know, the person that deserves a good one. And when they come around the corner, they do this kind of stuff. So it's just good to see that second generation competitive surfing families that we've seen all these kids really go to town.
Yeah, so involved in the community, always giving back, super humble. So great to see Josh Moniz, and just mentioning, you know, in his post-heat interview, he was actually sitting in that peak, that section between, you know, off the wall and backdoor aints, and he said he felt comfortable in that lineup because that's where he grew up. He was kind of getting the scraps off the bigger boys that would sit on that pack at Pipeline. So just good to see that they've kind of progressed up the lineup and they know this place so well.